President William Ruto continues to be controversial. He's now at the Ukraine-Russia Peace Summit in Switzerland, and he has made a speech where he condemned Russia's invasion, according to his word, against Ukraine. Now, why this is controversial? How does this impact in general to the continent? And what other things William Ruto said? This is something that we will look at in this video. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent. Now, William Ruto, he participated in the meeting of where Italy, the G7 meeting, and then from there, he went ahead to this peace summit in Ukraine, in which several world leaders have attended, and international organizations, where once again, first of all, he has confirmed that why he's called the flying man. So he was now in Italy. He's the most, the most traveled or flying president, sitting president of Kenya so far. So he was in Italy, and then from there he went to Switzerland to participate in this summit. Now, I would like to invite you what he said in this speech in that peace summit, and I will share with you why it is controversial.
To the conflict to demonstrate good faith, abandon unyielding attitudes, and soften their positions for lasting peace to be realized.
We have gathered here and we are reminded by the Indian statesman Mahatma Gandhi, who said that an eye for an eye will make humanity blind. Just as Russia's invasion of Ukraine was unlawful and unacceptable, the unilateral appropriation of Russia's assets is equally unlawful, unacceptable, and a derogation from the UN Charter, especially for those of us who believe in freedom, justice, and democracy, and the rule of law.
President Ruto now wants the globe to embark on a collective effort to resolve the war.
For the first time, we have convened to talk about peace in Ukraine and not war in Ukraine. Secondly, a commitment to peace makes certain fundamental concessions inevitable. This summit should not be a meeting of just friends. This should be a meeting of both friends and foe. To succeed in this positive trajectory, Russia must be on the table, number one.
President Ruto regretted that the war has had a devastating impact across the world, including Africa. But even as the world focuses on Russia-Ukraine conflict, President Ruto is calling on the international community to pay attention to the forgotten wars tearing apart Africa's social fabric.
Just like the war in Ukraine, the war in the Middle East has been equally devastating. So is the case with the war in the Sahel region in Africa, in Eastern DRC, in Somalia, in the Horn of Africa, and of course in the Sudan. 40 million Africans have been displaced by the war in our continent, and 2.5 million kids are out of school.
At least 16 different conflicts are raging in Africa, and as the situation escalates, food insecurity intensifies in the affected countries.
The president termed Russia's aggression against. Addressing the Ukraine, William Ruto has joined world leaders in condemning Russia for invading Ukraine. Addressing the Ukraine Peace Summit in Switzerland, the president termed Russia's aggression against Ukraine as unlawful, unjust, and against the international law.
Yes. Now, so you have heard it. So there is a part that where he says it's unlawful, and he also goes in to talk about that invasion of Russia against Ukraine is also felt in Kenya. Even the Kenyan farmers knows about it because of the expensive fertilizer and the delayed fertilizer that's coming from Ukraine. So, the thing is that although he's entitled to express his opinion, or I even doubt this is the opinion of the Kenyan people, but okay, let's say that on behalf of Kenya. But now where it comes to why I say it's controversial is that it's not all African countries that have been invited. Only few countries have been there, maybe 10 or something, to participate in this peace summit. Now, the headlines that are coming out are, as an African leader condemned Russia, saying that this is unlawful, this and that. Now, in the absence of the clarity on what capacity William Ruto is invited to this peace summit, whether it's representing the continent or just Kenya, or it's because he's just a good friend to the West, we don't know. Now, for him to make that statement is really controversial now, but we all know why he does it, because and why he's invited as well, because Kenya has become increasingly now, or we would rather say maybe we can make a separate between William Ruto and Kenya. So William Ruto has become a friend of the West, and kind of their representative, to implement what they say, like a Trojan horse. He is serving to whatever they say. He's sending the militia or the police to Haiti. He also joined after the U.S. summit, and Kenya was accepted as a major non-NATO ally. Kenya is also accepted another war, which is the Houthi war, to join the Houthi war, meaning to join the West against the Houthi war, which is not their war, meaning it's not Kenya's war, and he's dragging Kenya into this. So, but definitely he's someone that now the West is losing. I mean, U.S. particularly, and even the European, but mostly the U.S. is losing the trust of its trust in African countries. I mean, I can speak where I come from, the Eastern African country. I mean, to take Ethiopia, I mean, the relation has been rough, and take Eritrea. I mean, we all know for what Eritrea stands for. That country do not even bow for any Western country. And take DRC, take Uganda, he has this LGBTQ thing to make it, they said they will not make it legal. That's also, that is their standing between the US and Uganda. And take DRC, what happened also, DRC, now when, when countries ally more with Russia, or have a relation with China and Russia, that could be, economic or whatever security, then the West, the way they see things is that, an African country should ally only with them. When you partner in trade with China, when you partner with Russia in terms of security, then it's a threat for them, and then, they categorize you. So DRC has that problem. Uganda, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Rwanda is, known for the man. I mean, a lot can be said about Kagame, but it's more Rwanda first kind of attitude Rwanda has. So now they have their person, Ruto, and then I can name also from West Africa, you have Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, and Bola Tinubu of Nigeria. You can go to the south, you have Zambia, okay? And you can, there's Malawi as well. I mean, you can name a certain countries, where the US calls them anchor countries. So now Kenya has become extremely something else. So that's why it is controversial for Ruto to speak the way he speaks. He misled, because this seems like as it's an African statement. Now, I want to share with you also, before he went ahead to Swiss to attend this Russia-Ukraine summit, he was also in the G7 meeting, one of the very few African leaders that has been invited, or maybe the only one. So here is what he said. I want to share. It has been going on viral on social media. You know, when a person introduces him with a World Bank president, this is what he said.
How are you, sir? Sorry, was the yes, thank you very much.
It is called OECD.
Thank you very much. How is OECD? Very well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
He is
Yes, I work for you. I work for you.
You see that? You see there where he says, I work for him. He says, I work for him, for the World Bank president. In fact, something he says, there is something that he says, the World Bank president about William Ruto, and William Ruto says, he turned to the other guy and said, I work for him. But, ironically, this is so true that William Ruto works for these institutions that continue to be a tool of the West to continue colonizing Africa. And for him to say that I work for him, I find it very symbolic and, at the same time, ironical. So let's go ahead and finish what he said.
Then I came here and I met him in his office at the first thing he told me was,
Oh, yeah, yes.
we have a system,
Well, so those are Kenya's new friends, not in the continent, but on the international stage. It's very interesting, on a daily basis, how President William Ruto never fails to disappoint us. Now, on this peace summit, what other things that you have to know is I'm going to come back with another video, but a lot of countries have rejected, not a lot, but particularly from Africa and also internationally, have rejected. They did not sign. They were absent. Although more than like 80 countries and world like global institutes have signed this, what they call a limited peace communique, but there a lot of them also, like a significant amount, also has rejected it, and also they were absent when it was signed. So that speaks volume for itself. It's where William Ruto chose to say what he said. And also, there's the Ghanaian president as well in that meeting. Anyway, let us know in the comment section what do you think of Ruto's action. That will be it for now. Let me see who I have here. Agro Valley Farm. There are certain countries in Africa where the people and the leaders aren't Pan-Africans. Example, high on the list are Somali, North Sudan, Kenya, and South Africa. Okay. I think they have Get Black with me. I think they have chosen Kenya because Obama father was from the Ruto from the Ruto he's just open to Eritrea should join I think so, the mixologist. Eritrea should it really similar with all their stance and everything. They're similar, and they just have to join them. And it is on the Sahara, Eritrea, just on the eastern part of the continent. It's from Eritrea to Senegal, the Sahel covers. Hello, CNS, greetings to you. The West don't really care about LGBT rights, they care about money and control, but they use it as a tool. Yeah. The way she touched his eye, yeah, that lady is full of attitude. I don't know what to go. Anyway, but that's the list of my worries. I think the focus was on Ruto. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. More on this peace summit of Ukraine, Russia, what happened, which African countries have signed and aligned themselves with the West, and which African countries and other international countries in other countries outside of the continent did not sign. That will really will blow your mind, and that's the next video. I will see you then. Ciao, ciao.